So we're moving on to square or issue number 16, I should say, because we've got more squares than that now. And this is the Tangled White Rose square. It looks like there's going to be a lot of colour changes, so we might have a few ends to weave in at the end. So our 5 different colours that we've got are sunflower white, this is sea green, we've got a shell pink, and then with this issue we had some more of the candy pink. We're going to start off with the sunflower, and we need to make a slip stitch and join it to our 4mm hook. So I've gone ahead and put that slip knot on my hook, and from here we're going to make 4 chains. 1, 2, 3 and 4. We need to make a foundation ring like we do quite often, so we're joining with a slip stitch into our first chain that we made. And there's our foundation ring complete. From here we want to chain 1, and then we're going to do 8 double crochets into the ring. So remember to pull apart to find your centre, and mine is right in there. This is never easy, especially doing it on camera. So we're pulling up a loop, yarning over and pulling through for our double crochets, and I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you can see, I'm now starting to incorporate my non-working yarn so it gets hidden. 6, 7 and 8. Oh, I've got a hair. There seems to be hairs everywhere on this yarn at the moment. I can only see them through the camera because they're so tiny. There we go. So the final instruction for that round is to join with a slip stitch into our first double crochet. So I'm just going to pull that circle a bit tighter so I can get round there. Go into your first stitch of that round, so you want to find your first V on the circle, and then you're pulling through and pulling through, so you've got your slip stitch, and there's the first round complete, and now we've got our circle. We want to chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then we're going to do a half treble into the next stitch and then chain 2, and we're going to keep doing that all the way around. So we're yarning over for our half treble, going into the next stitch, putting up a loop so we've got 3 on our hook, yarning over, and then we're pulling through. Oh, this yarn keeps splitting. We're pulling through all 3, and then we're chaining 2, and we're just continuing to do that all the way around. So into the next one, there's our half treble, pulling through all 3 and chain 2, into our next stitch, and then chain 2, next one, chain 2, Next one, chain 2 into your next stitch, chain 2 into your next stitch, do your half treble, chain 2, and then one more half treble. The last instruction for that round is to join with a slip stitch into our second chain that we made. So these are the chains that we made at the start, and we're going to go into the second one and just do a slip stitch. And there's round 2 complete. We now need to fasten that one off, and we're going to go in with the white yarn. So we haven't done this for a while, but we need to join our yarn into any of the chains. So I'm just putting my hook through one of the gaps. I'm then going to wrap my yarn over and pull it through. And we're then chaining 2. So remember to use your working yarn and not your non-working yarn. So there we've chained 2. Into the same space, we're going to do 3 trebles, 2 chains and a slip stitch. So yarn over for your first treble, into that same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 and pull through 2, and there's your first treble. We're then yarning over again and back into that same space, pull through 2, pull through 2, and again, pull through 2, pull through 2. We're then chaining 2, 1 and 2, and then something we haven't done before, which is quite unusual, is to go back into the same space and to do a slip stitch. And that just creates the curve of the petal. We then need to repeat that going round, so we're going into the next space. And we need to do 3 trebles. Oh, that hasn't worked properly. So, my first treble. 1, 2, and 3. We're then chaining 2 and doing a slip stitch. I'll show you one more time. So into the next space is 3 trebles, one, 2, and 3, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then you'll slip stitch back into the same space. So you need to repeat that going all the way around until you have the number of petals that it shows in the book. I will meet you back at the end of the row. So I've done the amount of petals that I need to, finished off with my last slip stitch following on from the pattern. And then the last instruction for that row is to go back into the original space that we started in and to do a slip stitch there. It's getting really confusing not knotting up with the other ones behind, so be really careful that you don't get those crossed over. So there's that round complete, and we're sticking with the white. So for this round, here's where the Irish crochet comes into play. We're working bars behind those petals, which makes the flower raised up. So we're going to go in behind. So where we've got our slip stitch from our last row, we want to chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3. We then want to slip stitch into the slip stitch that we created at the end of that petal over this side, but we're not going to go around the front, we're going to go around the back. So if you want to, you can pull your petal forward, and we're going into this stitch just here. Now I think this might end up being really fiddly. And then we're creating another slip stitch. So can you see we've got that line going around the back now? From the back it looks like that, which it looks quite messy to be honest, but we'll keep quiet on that. We'll see how it looks in the end. And it's kind of folded our petal over as well, it's made it curl up, so I don't know how that will stay. I've never done this before, so it's all just trial and error for me too. And we keep doing that, going all the way around. So we're chaining 3 again, 1, 2 and 3, and then we want to go in again, sorry, just trying to stay focused, to that slip stitch we created at the end of that petal. And now I've got another line going behind. I'll show you again. 1, 2, 3. This isn't easy to film at all. So I've done 3 of them. I'm going to go all the way around for my petals. I'll meet you at the end. So I've finished that going all the way around, and now the back of my circle looks like this. There's no instruction to finish this row in the book, but as you can see we've got a big gap here between these 2 petals, which I really don't want. So I'm going to go into, if you just turn it over, go into that first chain that we've made of those 3 chains going around the back. Just do a slip stitch, and that closes everything off. I can't honestly understand why they didn't do that, but hey ho, they tend to make mistakes, don't they? So fasten that one off, and then we need the sea green colour, so yarn C, and we're fastening it to any of the 3 chain space, and they need the 3 chain space by this, so we're just going up through one of those. So I've got my sea green here. So we're going around the back and putting our hook through that 3 chain because we're joining to the 3 chain. Doesn't matter which one. Hook your yarn over and pull it through. And then make sure to use your working yarn to chain 2. And then once you've done that, pull on your non-working yarn just to tighten that one up a bit. Of course, we can tighten it more when we've finished. We're going to treble 2 together now, and we're going to treble 2 together, putting our yarn still underneath those bars. So if you yarn over and go under, pull up a loop so you've got 2 loops on your hook. No, you haven't, you've got 3 loops on your hook. We're then yarning over and pulling through 2, so we've got 2 loops on our hook. Let me just remove that hair. We're then yarning over and going back under the bar and pulling up so you've got 4. Yarn over and pull through 2, so you've got 3 loops left on the hook. You then want to yarn over and pull through all 3, so you've trebled 2 together, and you can see it sits slightly behind the petal, and that is your Irish crochet. Next step is we're chaining 3. 1, 2 and 3, and then we're trebling 3 together under the next bar. So yarn over, go under and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and back in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, so you've got 3 on the hook, yarn over, back in, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, so you've got 4 loops on the hook. We're then yarning over and pulling through all 4 if I can. There we go. So there's our treble 3 together done. Then we want to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're repeating the same into the same space. So yarn over and back in that same space we need to treble 3 together again. So pull through 2, yarn over, back in, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, back in, pull up a loop, pull through 2 till you've got 4 on the hook, yarn over and pull through, and it should look like this. We're then chaining 3, 1, 2 and 3. We're then trebling 3 together in the next space. So yarn over and in, pull through 2, yarn over in, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, back in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 4 on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. We're then chaining 3. So we're now doing the repeat of this petal into the next one again. So we're going on the bar, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then pull through all 4, and then after that one we're chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The difference, why we're doing a different sort of amount of stitches behind each petal, is we're squaring off the circle again. So yarn over, back into that same space and doing a treble 3 together again. So you've got your 4 loops on the hook, pull through all 4. Are we chaining 3? I can't remember. We are indeed. 1, 2, 3, and then it's a single treble 3 together in the next one. Oh, I nearly pulled through then. Got my 4 loops on my hook, so I'm going to pull through and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're doing the double treble 3 together into this one. Pull through all 4, and then we're chaining 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then we're doing the next treble 3 together into this one. 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on the hook, putting through all 4 and then chaining 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we're doing a single into the back of this one. 1, 2, 3, my 4 loops, I'm pulling through all 4, chain 3, 2, 3, into the next one we've got the double, so 1, 2 and 3. Pull through all 4, chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3, pull through all 4. And then the last instruction for that round is to chain 3. And we're joining with a slip stitch into the top of our treble 2 together. So our treble 2 together is here, and the first stitch at the top is here. So you just want to go into that one and join with a slip stitch. And we're then going to fasten that one off because we're going to work with the shell pink in the next round. Before I do that, I just want to show you the back, just so you can compare to see if yours is working up the same. But you should be able to see that our flower is raised on top of those stitches now to create the height, which I think looks really cool. And I definitely will be doing this kind of thing in future. I think it looks really awesome. And the flower's really pretty as well. So I'm just going to fasten that one off, and like I said, we're moving on to the shell pink. So you should have a sort of square shape now, and the next instruction to join the yarn D, which is the shell pink, is to into one of the corner spaces. You should be able to see from the corner spaces we've got the 2 petals together with the yarn in between on an edge, or on a corner I should say, and hopefully you should be able to pull yours into place so you can work out where those corners are. So I'm just going to join up here. Now once you've got that one on your hook, you then need to chain 3. 1, 2 and 3, and from there we can then pull on that one if we need to tighten it. We're then doing 3 trebles into that same space. So yarn over and go through and pull up a loop. So you've got 3 on the hook, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then we're repeating that twice more. So it should look like this. We're then going to do 4 trebles into each of the next 2 spaces. So we're carrying on with the same stitch, and we're going into this one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the same into the next one. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now we're at our next corner. Into the corner you want to do 4 trebles, 2 chains, and then 4 trebles. So it's the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then your 2 chains. 1, 2, and then 4 more trebles. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to repeat that all the way around. So 4 trebles into the next space, 4 trebles into this space, and in your next corner is 4 trebles, 2 chains, 4 trebles. Go all the way around and I'll meet you at the end. So I've gone all the way around and we're now into the corner space again. So we're just going to finish this one off with another 4 trebles, just like we've done on all the other spaces. 1. Oh, my non-working yarn is getting caught. 2. Just hold that one around the back out the way. 3, and the last one 4. We then need to do 2 chains, and we're going to join with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain on the 1st row. So count up your chains here and into this one, do your slip stitch, and then we're going to fasten that one off. We're then changing to yarn E, which is the candy pink, the darker one, and we're just going to again join that into any corner space. So exactly the same way, and then just chain 1, and I'll meet you back here. So I've got my candy pink into a corner space, and I've already chained 1. Now this is the last colour change. We've got 3 more rows to go, but we won't be changing yarn colours again. So we're going to do a double crochet into the space that we're already in. And then we're going to do a double crochet into each of the next amount of stitches there are. I can't tell you the amount because I can't give you the full pattern in the video. So I'll show you a few and then I'll go off camera to finish it, and you'll just have to check in the book for round 7 exactly how many you need to do. So I'll just show you the first 4. So we're going 1, 2, 3 and 4, and those are going directly into the stitches from the last row. Once you're at the corner with the amount of stitches it says in the book, I will show you what you need to do. So I've gone all the way along and I'm at my first corner, and the instructions here are quite simple. We're just doing 1 double crochet, the same stitch that we've done all the way along, and then 2 chains, and then 1 double crochet. And it will tell you how many you need to do to go all the way along again, and then to the next corner you'll be doing 1 double crochet, 2 chains, 1 double crochet. I'll meet you at the end. So I've just noticed what I believe to be a potential error in the book. I'm not quite sure, it just doesn't make sense to me. So where I've just read the instructions, where we've done DCs all the way along here, and all the way along here, and then, oh, I'm getting tangled up, and then all the way along here, it says for the last side that these are supposed to be half trebles. I don't understand that. Why would you do DCs going all the way around 3 sides and then do half trebles on the last side? It would mean that it would make it taller on one side, and given the fact that this is a complete square, why would we want to make one side have extra height? I've double checked this by looking at the pictures in the magazine. All of the stitches are exactly the same on this. And then if you look at round 8, it says to do your stitches into the DCs from the last row. There's no mention of half trebles from the last row. So I'm going to stick with what we've done, in the fact that we've done the double crochets all the way around, because that makes absolutely no sense. I can't quite find any logic with that at all. The thing is they've made a point of writing that instruction separately, otherwise they would have just said DC all the way around, but they don't. They said DC 3 sides and then HTR the last. I genuinely can't get my head around it. It's really confusing me. I've just reread it again and I'm going to stick to what we've done because it makes no sense. I don't want to lengthen. just one side of my square. Makes absolutely no sense at all. I'm just going to stick with this, and I hope you will too. But I will send it across to the people we're supposed to email with the pattern corrections and question like exactly what it means, because it doesn't appear to make any sense at all. Anyway, so for the end of this round, I'm getting all tangled here. Look, there's so many ends from the colour changes. We need to do a double crochet into the corner space, and then we're going to do one chain, and then we're going to join this, not with a slip stitch, but with a double crochet into our first double crochet. So you can see we've got that V there, so we're going into that one and doing a double crochet. So that's the end of round 7. You should have something that looks like this, and I think it actually looks stunning. It's so pretty. This would be something that I'd like to make a bag or something from. Let's move on to round 8, and we are chaining 3. 1, 2 and 3. So something a bit different here. We're working with half trebles. So yarn over, we're not going into that first stitch just there, we're skipping a stitch and we're going into the next one. So we're going into this one here, pulling up a loop, so we've got 3 on a hook, yarning over and pulling through all 3 for the half treble, and then we're yarning over to chain 1. We're going to repeat that, but we're going to skip the next stitch and go into the next one. And we're just going to repeat that all the way along. Make sure you chain 1. So remember to skip a stitch. And I'll go all the way to the corner with you. Skip a stitch. And we're nearly at the corner, so I'll do my last one. And make sure you chain 1. And then our corner space is actually pretty small. Don't go into the one of the last row. You should be able to see a gap here between these stitches. So we're just doing a half treble into there. And then we're chaining 2. And then another half treble into that space. We're then carrying on with that pattern going all the way around, so skip your first stitch and into the next one. And it will also say in the book how many of these, as in how many trebles, so lines going down, you should have all the way along if you just want to check it. I'm going to keep going all the way around. Remember, in the corner, it's 1 half treble, 2 chains, 1 half treble. Remember to do 1 chain in between each half treble, and remember to skip a stitch. I'll see you at the end. So you'll notice when you've done your last amount that it says in the book that you're left with a few stitches here that we haven't gone into. So make sure you finish off after your last half treble to do a chain. Then we're skipping this stitch and going into the next one. And we are going to do another half treble into this stitch. We're then doing 1 chain, and then we're joining with a double crochet into the second chain of our chain stitches. So if you see here, these are our chains, and we've got 1 V here, the second one here. So we're going into this one and doing a double crochet. And that is the end of round 8. So we're now on to the final row. We need to chain 1, and then we're doing a double crochet into the corner space. Which is just in through here. We're then going to do a double crochet into all of the next stitches and to the spaces. So our first half treble from the last row is here. So we're going to do a double treble into that one. Sorry, we're not going to do a double treble, we're going to do a double crochet, a DC, and then we're going to go in through the space and do one. And then we're going to go into the top of the next half treble from the last row, and then go into the space and do another. And into the stitch for this one. And then into the gap. Then into the stitch. Then the gap. Then the stitch. And just keep going all the way along doing this, and I'll show you what to do at the corner. This isn't easy, you know, I think I've done my stitches too tight. It doesn't like pulling that loop through. God, I can't get in here at all. Apologies of how unprofessional this looks. Okay, so I've done my last double crochet in the gap, and then we're at a corner now. So we're just doing, it's really simple, just like before, 1 double crochet, 2 chains, and then another double crochet, and then continue that all the way along, all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. So I'm at the end, gone all the way around, and then we're doing 1 double crochet into the corner, 2 chains, and then we're finishing with a slip stitch into the first double crochet of that round, and there's that one done and ready to be fastened off. I will say that mine is a lot smaller than past squares, and this is the first time that this has happened. Like, it's a good 1 centimetre smaller. It's quite a small square, so hopefully we can make up with that for that when we add the border on. There's quite a lot of ends to weave in on this one, so don't leave them all to the end like I've been doing, because it will drive you crackers. Now that that one's done, something that I didn't talk about in the last video, which I couldn't because I filmed it straight after the portraits, was the glue that I tried out. I said that I'd get back to you about it. Now, I don't know if you can see it on camera. Can you see it glistening around there? It feels like rubber. Now, it's not hard. It's perfectly malleable. It's not scratchy, or tiny little bit scratchy perhaps, but it's perfectly fine. So if you just want to weave in your ends and then dab a little bit of the glue on it that I recommended in that video, just to secure them, like here, there's an end there and I've just glued it down, and that'll save it. Like, you can see that is not coming undone, no chance. That is now rubber. So that will help to secure your stitches so they won't come undone. And it's, you can see from the front, I did even put a little bit here because I had a loose thread. I mean, you can't see that at all. Yes, that feels a tiny bit different there, a little bit harder, I'd say. But again, feels more like rubber. It's quite bouncy and you can barely see it. So definitely a product worth buying to save everything coming undone. That's the end of the Tangled White Rose Square video, and I shall see you for the next one, which will be number 17. Remember to like and comment if you can. It's good to hear from you all and to see how much you're enjoying the squares, or just if you think the squares are rubbish, or if you like it, just anything really. And remember to subscribe if you want notifications when I post the next video. So I'll see you then. Bye.